Imagine setting your own capital on fire, just to stop the enemy. Sounds insane? Well, Russia did it. And this is the fiery story of how a Tsar scorched Moscow to save his empire. Before we dive into this epic moment in history, hit that like, share and subscribe button, and let's uncover the truth behind the flames. The Tsar who burned Moscow was Alexander I of Russia. He ruled from 1801 to 1825 during the peak of Napoleon's power. At first, Alexander and Napoleon were allies after the Treaty of Tilsit in 1807. But by 1812, tensions rose due to trade disagreements and political distrust. Napoleon launched a massive invasion of Russia in June 1812 with over 600,000 soldiers, the largest army ever assembled in Europe at the time. The Russians used a tactic called scorched earth, destroying everything as they retreated. Tsar Alexander I refused to engage Napoleon in direct battle for weeks. Instead, Russian generals led Napoleon deeper into Russian territory. The Battle of Borodino, fought in September 1812, was one of the bloodiest battles of the Napoleonic Wars. Napoleon won the field, but the Russian army retreated in good order, not destroyed. Napoleon entered Moscow on September 14, 1812, expecting peace talks. But Moscow was empty. Over 90% of civilians had fled. The governor of Moscow, Fyodor Rostopchin, allegedly ordered the city burned. Fires broke out just days after Napoleon arrived and raged uncontrollably. About 3/4 of the city was destroyed by flames. Rostopchin later claimed it was the citizens themselves who torched the city. But most historians agree that Russian agents set the fires intentionally, likely with Tsar Alexander's approval. Napoleon was trapped in a burning ghost city, far from supplies, in the Russian winter. He waited in Moscow for over a month, hoping Alexander would negotiate. Alexander never replied. He refused to surrender a single inch. With winter coming, Napoleon was forced to retreat in October 1812. The retreat was disastrous. Starvation, frostbite, and attacks by Russian forces killed most of his men. Of the 600,000 troops Napoleon brought to Russia, only around 100,000 returned. The burning of Moscow was the turning point in the Napoleonic Wars. It marked the beginning of Napoleon's downfall. Alexander I became a European hero after the defeat of Napoleon. He led Russian troops all the way to Paris by the year 1814. At the Congress of Vienna, he helped redraw Europe's borders. But despite all this success, Alexander's final years were filled with guilt and spirituality. And some rumors even say he faked his death in 1825 and became a monk named Fyodor Kuzmich. After the fire, Moscow was, painfully rebuilt over decades. The Kremlin survived, but many wooden districts were completely destroyed. The fire was so large it burned for days and was visible from miles away. Napoleon blamed the Russians for the destruction, calling them barbarians. But Russians, on the other hand, saw it as an act of heroic sacrifice. The burning of Moscow was a rare case where a nation destroyed its own major city as military strategy. It proved that resistance and strategic depth could defeat even the most powerful army. Tsar Alexander showed that patience and sacrifice could overcome direct confrontation. And today, many Russians still view 1812 as a moment of national pride and resilience. The event inspired art, novels and music, including Tchaikovsky's 1812 Overture, which interestingly mimics the battle with cannon sounds. The Tsar didn't just lose a city, he saved a nation. Moscow burned, but Russia rose. If you want more untold moments from history that shaped the world, don't forget to like, share and subscribe.